Sometimes, life breaks you so completely that even a $75 mansion feels like salvation. For Wesley Banks, it wasn't a bargain, it was survival. The 46-year-old single father had lost his job, his marriage, and most of his hope in the same year. The house, a decaying Victorian with broken windows and vines gripping its bones, was all he had left to offer his daughter, Paige, and their loyal dog, Benson. They moved in with camping chairs, thrift store lamps, and the fragile belief that maybe, somehow this forgotten place could remember what it meant to be a home. But on their third morning, as the sun painted the weeds gold, Benson began barking toward the east side of the property. Wesley followed the sound, and through a filthy sunroom window he saw her, a woman, standing in the light. Still, watching. Her dark hair hung loose, her eyes fixed on him with something between fear and recognition. Wesley froze. The house was supposed to be empty, but the longer he stared, the more he felt it, that she wasn't haunting the house. She was part of it. Before that day, Wesley's life had collapsed in quiet, ordinary ways. 22 years at Hartfield Manufacturing had given him routine, security, and the illusion of permanence. But when the layoffs came, they didn't just take his paycheck, they took his purpose. His wife Linda left 2 months later. She said it wasn't about the money, but Wesley knew better. When she remarried that spring, he didn't even argue. He just packed what was left of his pride and tried to keep breathing. Paige, his only daughter, came home soon after, heartbroken from a fiancé who'd traded loyalty for convenience. 2 wounded people under one roof pretending they were fine. Their dog, Benson, was the only thing forcing them to keep a rhythm. Morning walks, shared dinners, something resembling life. Then one humid Tuesday in June, Wesley wandered into a county auction, just to feel like he was doing something. They were selling tax-delinquent land and properties no one wanted. When Lot 47 came up, the abandoned Peaton mansion, the crowd went silent. Opening bid, $500. Then $200. Then $100. Still silence. Wesley raised his hand. $75, he said, his voice shaking. Laughter rippled through the crowd. But no one else bid, sold. That's how a broken man bought a haunted house and unknowingly, his second chance. The first time Wesley and Paige stepped inside, the air felt thick, heavy with dust and history. A staircase curved like a question mark toward the second floor. Stained glass windows caught the afternoon sun, and threw colors across walls cracked like skin. Paige whispered, "It's like the house has been waiting." For 2 days they scrubbed and swept, finding beauty hidden under decay. Wesley felt something stirring in him, a purpose he hadn't known he still had. But on the third morning, that fragile peace shattered. Benson's barking led him to the overgrown east wing, a part of the mansion they hadn't explored. Behind the vines was a glass sunroom. Wesley pressed his hands to the window, expecting nothing. Instead, a woman's face appeared inches from his own. Her expression wasn't angry. It was sorrowful, like she'd been caught between worlds. When he called out, she stepped backward into the dark, vanishing into a hallway they didn't know existed. Later, when Wesley and Paige found the hidden door behind the library bookshelf, they discovered the truth. Someone had been living there. There were drawings, books, a sleeping bag, a camping stove. The woman wasn't a ghost. She was real, and she'd been hiding right there in the walls of their new life. That night, fear wrestled with compassion. Paige wanted to call the police. Wesley hesitated. He saw the carefulness of her space, the art, the order, the quiet dignity of someone who cleaned even the dust. So he left a tray of soup by the door. In the morning, it was gone. In its place lay a folded note, "Thank you." That's how they met Delane. For days, they communicated in silence. Food trays exchanged for handwritten words. Then one morning, she slipped a note under Wesley's door. "My name is Delane. I'm sorry for intruding. Thank you for your kindness." Weeks later, she finally stepped into the light. Her voice was soft, almost unused. "I didn't mean to scare you," she said. "I just didn't have anywhere else to go." Over time, her story unfolded, piece by piece, like torn pages from a diary. She'd been a high school art teacher once, then a scandal, An affair that destroyed her reputation, her job, and her life. She'd come to the Peaton mansion because she believed it was part of her family's past, a place her great-grandmother Constance had vanished from 80 years earlier. The house, she said, felt like it had called her home. Delaine's revelation changed everything. The mansion, it turned out, had once belonged to Aldrich Peaton, a man whose daughter Constance disappeared in 1942 under mysterious circumstances. Whispers of forbidden love, family scandal, and tragedy had haunted the Peaton name for decades. Delaine's grandmother was born from that lineage, quietly, secretly sent away to erase the family's shame. Delaine had been drawn here by that buried story, hoping to understand why generations of her bloodline lived and died in silence. Wesley and Paige, once skeptics, found themselves drawn into her mystery. Together they uncovered old letters, diaries, and photographs, fragments of a love story that had ended in disappearance. But just when trust began to grow, a man in a suit arrived with a leather briefcase. He told Wesley that the house he'd bought for $75 was under legal challenge. Someone had filed a claim months earlier, claiming direct inheritance. The name on the paperwork, Delaine Peaton. Wesley's world spun. Delaine admitted everything. Before meeting them, she'd filed a claim to reclaim her ancestral home. She'd meant to withdraw it after meeting them, but hadn't found the courage. "I stopped caring about owning it," she said through tears. "I just wanted to belong." But Paige's heartbreak was raw. "You lied," she said. "You let us love you, and you lied." That night, Delaine packed what little she had and left quietly. Benson whined at the door long after the sound of her car faded. The mansion felt empty again, alive but aching. For weeks, silence filled the rooms where laughter had begun to return. Wesley found her sketchbook one morning, pages full of drawings. The house, Paige laughing, himself fixing the porch. And at the center of it all, 3 figures in a garden, them. He realized then that Delaine hadn't just wanted the house. She'd wanted family. But she didn't believe she deserved it. It was Paige who found her. Weeks later, armed with old records and guilt heavy on her heart, she tracked Delaine to a small cottage 2 towns away. They arrived unannounced, carrying Constance's recovered diary, the missing piece Delaine had never found. Its last pages changed everything. Constance hadn't been a ghost story. She'd been a survivor. The diary revealed that she fled not from shame, but from assault and oppression, from a family that had silenced her. In Oregon, decades later, a woman matching her description was found running a home for women escaping abuse. "She didn't vanish," Delaine whispered. "She rebuilt." That revelation shattered generations of silence. Together, Wesley, Paige, and Delaine decided to do the same. They returned to the mansion, not to hide but to transform it. Not as owners but as healers. They called it Constance's house, a place for people who'd lost everything, a refuge for those trying to remember how to live. 6 months later, the mansion breathed again, fresh paint, light through clean windows. Gardens reborn. The first residents arrived, and a veteran, a teacher in recovery, a young woman escaping an abusive home. Wesley welcomed each one, saying softly, "You're home now for as long as you need." Paige ran the logistics. Delaine led art classes in the same sunroom where she'd once hidden. The ghost had quieted, not gone, just healed. That night, under a spring sky, the 3 stood in the garden. "The house remembers how to hold life," Delaine whispered. Wesley smiled. "And we remember how to live in it." The stars burned brighter, and for the first time the mansion didn't look haunted. It looked alive. And as this story ends, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from, and what time is it right now? Because somewhere out there, maybe in your own quiet night, there's a small piece of you still believing in second chances, in broken things becoming whole again. Maybe, just maybe, this story found you when you needed it most.